For more than 38 years, the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame has been honoring the region's musicians and music history. Welcome. My name is Anthony Casuccio, and I'm president of the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. The Buffalo Music Hall of Fame encompasses a population of over 1.3 million people from all 5 counties of western New York, including Erie, Niagara, Allegheny, Cattaraugus, and Chautauqua counties. Our mission is to honor, preserve, and protect the diverse musical culture and heritage of western New York through education, scholarship, and performance, and to recognize, via formal induction, those individuals and groups who have made a significant impact on the music scene locally and abroad. This year, more than any other time in the history of the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame, we've been reminded of how important it is to recognize our fellow musicians who are no longer with us. They may no longer be with us physically, but their legacy lives on in their spirit. We will honor their lives and celebrate their talent with the induction into the 2020 class of the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. Now, I would like to introduce the Vice President of the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame and 2012 inductee, Mr. Tom Lorenz.
Thank you, Anthony, and what an incredible moment this is for the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame and this year's inductees. It's an honor to introduce our renowned co-hosts, Joanne Falletta, conductor and musical director for the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra and Buffalo Music Hall of Fame class of 2010, and Sean McQuiller, lead singer and guitarist of the legendary Kool and the Gang and Buffalo Music Hall of Fame class of 2012 inductee.
Welcome to the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame 2020 induction ceremony. Due to limitations of live events this past year, the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame decided to bring the ceremony directly to you.
We are excited to induct 7 incredible musicians that have spent decades performing, writing, recording, breaking down barriers, and making Western New York proud. Please join us in honoring these talented individuals.
Our first inductee, Eudice Shapiro, started her 8-decade-long musical career in North Buffalo at age 5. From hit records to soundtracks to working with classical and contemporary music elite, Eudice broke barriers and made major strides for women musicians. Eudice Shapiro was born in Buffalo in 1914. She grew up in North Buffalo, the daughter of a pianist and a violinist. At the age of 5, her father was her first violin teacher. She dressed up for her lesson and entered her home through the front door, just so she could be like his other students. Her father played with the Buffalo Philharmonic. At age 6, Eudice was invited to play at a women's club, and her payment was a box of marshmallows. As part of her early training, her father took her to the Central Terminal every Saturday, where she took a train to Rochester for lessons at the Eastman School of Music. At age 17, Eudice began her studies at the Curtis Institute in Philadelphia. Her instructor there was the renowned Russian composer, violinist, and conductor Efrem Zimbalist, who was the director of the institute. He had only taught men, but he made an exception in the case of the talented Eudice. In the late 1930s, Eudice was a guest soloist with the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra. Her father, Ivan Shapiro, was playing viola with the Buffalo Philharmonic. She went from Philadelphia to New York City and in 1941 headed to California. As the men were going off to war, Eudice was able to fill the need for musicians. At RKO Studios, under musical director Konstantin Bakalennikov, she became the first female concertmaster. He was so impressed with her that she remained in that position after the war from 1941 until 1965. She also worked at the Paramount Studios. She was concertmaster for all the films for the studios during that time. Herschel Shapiro, Eudice's brother, remembers her taking him to visit the set of the movie Step Lively. He recalls carrying Eudice's violin for her and being introduced to the star of the film, Frank Sinatra. In the 1940s, film scores were performed live. Eudice held music festivals at her California home and enjoyed performing and socializing with her many musician friends, including Russian-American violinist Yasha Heifetz, cellist Gregor Piatigorsky, and pianist and conductors Igor Stravinsky, and 2007 Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductee Leonard Pinario. She was so honored to play the works of Igor Stravinsky and performed with him on many occasions. Eudice felt she had gained his trust when pointing out a possible mistake in a violin part. Stravinsky immediately conferred with Samuel Dushkin, who originally performed the piece. Miss Shapiro was correct and had Stravinsky's corrections in red ink in her score. A sampling of Eudice Shapiro's credits include Stardust, the complete Capitol recordings 1955 to 1959 with Nat King Cole, the complete Capitol singles collection by Frank Sinatra, Get Happy by Ella Fitzgerald, written by another Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductee, Harold Arland, class of 1997, as well as film scores for Breakfast at Tiffany's, music from the motion picture score by Henry Mancini, The Apartment, and For Whom the Bell Tolls, and recordings by Peggy Lee, Pat Boone, and Chet Atkins, to name just a few. Eudice said that one of her greatest accomplishments was teaching at the USC Thornton School of Music for over 50 years, from 1956 until her death in 2007 at the age of 93. This was made possible by allowing her, in her later years, to teach at home.
Donnie Elbert was more than just a songwriter and a musician. He wore many hats during his 30-plus years in the music industry. His business acumen was utilized by many record labels where he worked throughout his career. Donnie Elbert was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and came to live in Buffalo at the age of 3. His first instrument was the guitar, followed later by the piano. In 1955, with Danny Cannon, he formed the Vibraharps. He played with them, singing backup and playing guitar for 2 years before going solo. His solo career started in 1957 with a demo of What Can I Do? That got him a recording contract with Deluxe Records. Fred Mendelssohn, involved in several recording labels, was instrumental in his first success, hitting number 12 on Billboard's R&B charts. Donnie left the Deluxe label in 1959. Some of his performance venues included the Apollo Theater in New York and the Chitlin Circuit, a group of performance venues that gave a platform to African-American entertainers. He served his country in the U.S. Army. In 1965, his release of A Little Piece of Leather did not find much success here at home. A re-release of this in 1972 on the London label hit number 27 in the UK. During his career, Donnie worked with many labels, including Red Top, VJ, Parkway, Cub Checker, and Gateway. Throughout the 70s, he released hits on labels including Rare Bullet, All Platinum, and a 1972 hit, I Can't Help Myself, at AFCO Embassy. In 1975, he started his own label, Elbert Records. On this label, he released You Keep Me Crying with Your Lying and I've Got to Get Myself Together. In the 1980s, he retired from performing and focused on the business side of recording. He was the director of A&R Records under the Polygram Canadian division. Donnie's lifelong friend and fellow musician Jesse Butler said Donnie Elbert was one of his best in the studio. He pointed out that he was not a flashy person. Jesse said in addition to Donnie Elbert's musical talent, he was also clearly knowledgeable about the business side of the industry. As is shown by his many recordings on many different labels, he never stopped working toward the next big hit. He was a successful songwriter, producer, arranger, and vocalist, and played the piano and guitar, often combining all those talents to produce his own recording. Donnie Elbert died suddenly in 1989, a great and diverse talent who left us too soon. Donnie Elbert was more than just a songwriter and a musician. He wore many hats during his 30-plus years in the music industry. His business acumen was utilized by many record labels where he worked throughout his career. Donnie Elbert was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and came to live in Buffalo at the age of 3. His first instrument was the guitar, followed later by the piano. In 1955, with Danny Cannon, he formed the Vibraharps. He played with them, singing backup and playing guitar for 2 years before going solo. His solo career started in 1957 with a demo of What Can I Do? That got him a recording contract with Deluxe Records. Fred Mendelssohn, involved in several recording labels, was instrumental in his first success, hitting number 12 on Billboard's R&B charts. Donnie left the Deluxe label in 1959. Some of his performance venues included the Apollo Theater in New York and the Chitlin Circuit, a group of performance venues that gave a platform to African-American entertainers. He served his country in the U.S. Army. In 1965, his release of A Little Piece of Leather did not find much success here at home. A re-release of this in 1972 on the London label hit number 27 in the UK. During his career, Donnie worked with many labels, including Red Top, VJ, Parkway, Cub Checker, and Gateway. Throughout the 70s, he released hits on labels including Rare Bullet, All Platinum, and a 1972 hit, I Can't Help Myself, at AFCO Embassy. In 1975, he started his own label, Elbert Records. On this label, he released You Keep Me Crying with Your Lying and I've Got to Get Myself Together. In the 1980s, he retired from performing and focused on the business side of recording. He was the director of A&R Records under the Polygram Canadian division. Donnie's lifelong friend and fellow musician Jesse Butler said Donnie Elbert was one of his best in the studio. He pointed out that he was not a flashy person. Jesse said in addition to Donnie Elbert's musical talent, he was also clearly knowledgeable about the business side of the industry. As is shown by his many recordings on many different labels, he never stopped working toward the next big hit. He was a successful songwriter, producer, arranger, and vocalist and played the piano and guitar, often combining all those talents to produce his own recording. Donnie Elbert died suddenly in 1989, a great and diverse talent who left us too soon.
Joey Giambra was considered a Renaissance man for his love of music, art, food, and of course his hometown, Buffalo, New York. For more than 40 years, Joey Giambra's music soothed the ears of many Buffalonians. Joey was a self-taught jazz trumpeter, a pianist, an actor, a singer and songwriter, a restaurant owner, a filmmaker, a poet, a chef, the author of 4 books, a historian, and a one-time candidate for the mayor of Buffalo. Giambra was born in 1933 on Georgia Street in Buffalo's Lower West Side. His family recalls that he had an early passion for music. He started playing the trumpet at the age of 7. Joey cites Bobby Hackett and Ruby Braff as instrumentalists of the day who influenced his playing. He went on to Hutchinson Central High School, where he formed a band that maintained a steady business at weddings, parties, and other events. Joey played a steady gig leading a band at the famed club, the Chez Amis. While in high school, Giambra tried to sneak into a venue where Louis Armstrong was performing. Security was ushering him out when Armstrong saw the commotion and asked why they were ejecting Joey. Before anyone else could answer, Joey Giambra said, "Mr. Armstrong, I'm a trumpet player too, but I don't have any money. I just wanted to hear you play." Armstrong said to let him go and invited Joey Giambra to visit backstage, where they talked for an hour and a half. Through the late 50s and early 60s, Giambra played at many clubs here in Buffalo, behind some big names who came to town to perform. In 1963, he joined the Buffalo Police Department after a long stint as a trumpeter, composer, and band leader, and a few years as an aspiring actor in New York City. Although walking the beat and eventually becoming a detective, Joey never gave up on his passion for music. Joey Giambra's 2017 CD, Legacy, was a who's who of area musicians and featured the song I Love Buffalo that Joey wrote to honor his hometown. He sings 7 original songs along with a half-dozen standards, at times also playing the trumpet. A man of many talents, Joey Giambra says, "Whatever I've done all my life, I have trusted my art. That's what keeps me going."
I love you, Buffalo.
Some of you may be wondering, what is the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame? It was established in 1983 by Rick and Marcia Falkowski and has evolved and grown. Our mission is to properly honor the diverse musical talent that has flourished in the Western New York area. Part of the duty of the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame is to preserve the rich musical history of this region. Through the years, the Hall of Fame has honored some of the most amazing talent this area, this country, and even the world has ever known.
It's just a blur now that it's over, and I don't look back, but sometimes still I go to places that we used to go.
saw a tear in your eye, and you were always there for me. We used to laugh and cry constantly. I love you endlessly.
When I got up this morning, I couldn't stop thinking of you. You're on my mind all the time. There's not a whole lot I've been able to do. My head's spinning round since the first time we met. I hear my friends say it's a sure bet that there's no age in love. As long as you feel it, so open up your heart. There's so much love into letting it. I can't believe that I feel this way. It came unexpectedly the other day. Just the thought of you makes me smile. My heart's beating faster all the while. When you turned up into my life, you brought a change that made it so right. 'Cause there's no age in love.
Well, don't you ever give all your love to just one woman when you know she's running around. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you do, you know you're gonna get put down. Don't be picking up broken eggs up off the ground. Well, go out and get yourself another woman. Funny thing, when she knows she's got you hooked, and if you jump each time she pulls the string, I know your goose is cooked. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, don't you ever give all your love to just one woman when you know she's running around. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you do, you know you're gonna get put down.
They have been Grammy winners and Academy Award winners. Soundtrack composers that have put the music to our favorite movies, musicals, and TV shows. Many are not household names, but either performed with or had another role with the greatest of the greats. As long as music lifts our hearts and inspires our souls, the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame will continue its noble mission of preserving our musical heritage. With over 300 inductees and counting, the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame will continue to grow, and the Western New York area will always pay homage to the men and women who have traveled over the rainbow, dreamed a dream, and found that it really can come true. Now Tom is going to tell you about some of our community outreach programs.
The Buffalo Music Hall of Fame is committed to educating and delivering music to people of all ages and honoring those musicians who have made an impact on Western New York's music culture. For more than a decade, the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame has presented young, talented musicians with scholarship awards for their outstanding accomplishments. These talented high school seniors plan to attend college and enroll in academia that will help build up their music performance, lend a hand in the business of music, or help create great music by learning the technical, audio, and production aspects of music as their course of study. This year we awarded the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame Education Scholarship to Leah Streetley and Laura Grant. Leah is enrolled at the University of Texas and majoring in music performance. Laura Grant is attending Syracuse University and majoring in music industry. The Buffalo Music Hall of Fame's gift of music doesn't end there. In collaboration with Lucille and Jackie Ellen Foundation, the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame has been awarding young amateur songwriters the chance to have the spotlight shine on one of their original compositions. Budding songwriters prepare and perform their original songs at a live concert showcase. The winning songwriter receives a scholarship that includes a recording session with the help of Hall of Fame inductees as session musicians and mentors. The song will be recorded, mixed, and professionally mastered. Michael Delano and his original composition, Undercover, took home the 2019 Lucille and Jackie Ellen Songwriters Scholarship. With 6 songwriters competing for the scholarship, Michael Delano was the final recipient with highest cumulative scores in the categories of lyrics, vocal performance, playing performance, and melody. All of these scholarships open doors to a new level of networking and mentoring with music professionals. It also allows these young musicians to give back to the Western New York community.
You are watching the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame 2020 Induction Ceremony. Welcome back to the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame 2020 Induction Ceremony.
On any given day throughout the year, the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame's presence can be found and heard at venues across Western New York. Our organization is striking a high note this year by partnering with the Music to Remember Western New York program. This program carries on the mission of musician medics while also delivering the healing power of music to seniors, disabled veterans, those with Alzheimer's or dementia, and all their families. Musicians perform at local hospitals, facilities, and senior centers across the area, playing it forward. Our connection with the community continues throughout this year with performances at the Juneteenth Festival of Buffalo. The Unity Band, class of 2003, is always one of the highlights of this great parade and event. The Music is Art Festival, led by its impassioned leader, Robbie Tatek of the Goo Goo Dolls, has been an inspirational unifying force for music in our region. Inducted into the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame in 1995, Robbie has brought together hundreds of musicians, dancers, DJs, and live artists to highlight the value of music and give back to the community. We also fill the summer air with music in the heart of downtown Buffalo. The M&T Bank Plaza Event Series brings music fans 11 weeks of great outdoor concerts featuring some of Buffalo's finest groups and, of course, many Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductees. And now back to Joanne and Sean.
Tommy Bucur was a man of few words. He let his music do the talking and used it as his form of expression. Tommy Bucur was a 1965 graduate of Tonawanda High School and was a U.S. Navy veteran serving in Vietnam. He was a long-life musician. His career spanned multiple decades. Tom was a sought-after guitarist in Western New York for studio work, citing Buffalo Music Hall of Famer Ernie Carrello, the Allman Brothers, and Steely Dan as his musical influences. Tom spent the majority of his career on the road touring with various in-demand bands such as Times Square, Easy Living Band, and original bands Sundance and Cheap. Tom teamed up with and recorded as the Cheap Seats at Tommy Calandra's studio to create a series of Buffalo Bill jingles that became mainstays on numerous local radio stations in the early 80s.
We're the Buffalo Bills fans and we make noise. Stomp our feet, help our boys. Rock Ridge Stadium to the ground.
Tom's musical philosophy was keep it simple, stay in your lane, and let the music do the talking. Tom was not one to show off. He would often be seen with his head down, getting lost in the plan. Tom was quoted as saying, "My amp speaks for me."
You can pay homage to our next inductee, Ralph Fava, by visiting the Ralph Fava DiCamillo stage at the Northwest Jazz Festival in Lewiston, New York. Ralph Fava Jr. was born in Georgia, grew up in Western New York, and graduated from Niagara Falls High School in 1971. After graduation from the Berklee College of Music in 1982, he made his home in Lockport, New York, and started the Lockport Music Center. The Music Center not only did retail sales, but also gave music lessons and offered instrument rentals along with repairs. The store offered guitar clinics featuring 1996 Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductee Tommy Tedesco and Jorge Casas, musical director of Gloria Estefan's Miami Sound Machine, among others. Ralph was an accomplished musician. He was a member of the Lockport Federation of Musicians Local 97 as a board member and past president and vice president. Ralph performed as first call guitarist for many famous performers who came to Western New York, including Rich Little, Wayne Newton, Mary Wilson, Bobby Vinton, Debbie Reynolds, Donald O'Connor, Tennessee Ernie Ford, Jim Neighbors, Connie Francis, The Drifters, Al Martino, and Jerry Vale, as well as Western New York greats, including Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductees Bobby Militello and Bobby Jones. His earliest memory of playing the guitar was at age 8. During his teen years, Ralph drew inspiration from performers such as Elvis, the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, and his first guitar teacher, Charlie Chirenzo. The Ralph Fava Trio, Ralph, Bud Fadale, and Dan Hull, worked throughout Western New York at events such as the Lewiston Jazz Festival and the Olcott Beach Jazz Trail. Referencing the newly dedicated Ralph Fava DiCamillo Courtyard Stage at the Northwest Jazz Festival, the festival's music coordinator, Tony Zambito, said, "Ralph was a great contributor to the jazz scene in our area and was an encourager to all of us to keep jazz music alive. It was an honor to get to know Ralph, and this is an honorable way for the festival to show the community how much he was admired by so many." The stage, dedicated in 2019, will feature performances paying tribute to the art of the jazz guitar and to Ralph Fava. Ralph's family remembers that he always said, "God blessed me with talent." He practiced diligently to perfect his skill. They remember his words to his students, "Practice only on the days that you eat." Ralph's daughter Maria has taken on the responsibility of running the Lockport Music Center to keep her dad's memory alive and to honor his lifetime musical accomplishments. The family said, "Ralph will always be there in spirit, and his music lives on with all of us."
Sal Perrello spent as much time on the road touring across the country as he did playing here in his hometown of Western New York. Sal Perrello was no stranger to the Buffalo music scene. His music career started in the late 1950s when he studied with guitar instructor Andy Romer. His first band in the 60s was the Lonely Souls. This group later became the Shenago Band, which included Nelson Starr, a 2006 Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductee. The group was a popular horn band performing the sounds of Blood, Sweat, and Tears in Chicago, in addition to some originals. Throughout the 1970s, Sal performed at many local clubs, including the Executive Hotel and Nightclub. He toured across the country from Scarsdale, New York, to Palm Springs, California, and as far as to St. Thomas and the Virgin Islands, eventually turning home to Kleinhans Music Hall, where he played with Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductee Emil Latimer, and his band opened for Herbie Hancock. While performing with the Good Times Band in Scarsdale, they caught the attention of a New York City booking agency and A&M Records. He was asked to go to New York City to put together a show band for Jamie Murad, a popular Iranian recording artist. During this time, he also did some recording at Columbia Records in New York City with producer Mr. Genovese. During the 1980s, he performed with the Joe Madison Band, which included a number of Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductees. While continuing to play locally, he did a revival of the band Good Times and also performed with Act Two. In 1996, Sal was a member of a 17-piece pyramid swing band. With this band, he performed for Buffalo Bills quarterback Jim Kelly's wedding. A mainstay throughout his music career was a good friend and fellow band member from the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductee Nick Veltri. They played together in the group Pressure, which later became the Conquerors, known for their Southern blues and rock. Nick remembers Sal as a brilliant musician, even as a youngster. They would meet at Nick's apartment with Jimmy Wozniak, a Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductee in 2007, and Sal would start playing. He could play anything. Nick still misses him every day.
You know, I wish we could have got him in before he died, you know, because I remember him sitting with Rick Sargent and I and a couple other people turning in his documents and bios and things he recorded and stuff like that. It didn't work out that way.
Throughout the 2000s, Sal continued to play, sitting in with his friends as a member of the Soul Providers. He performed with them up until his death, played his last gig with them on August 12, 2018. He passed away the next day.
Bobby DeSoto was an early pioneer of rock and roll in Buffalo. In addition to having a great voice, Bobby was a great dancer, and he became a fixture at area sock hops early in his career. Bobby DeSoto was born and raised in Buffalo. He spent his early years on the East Side, raised by his mother and grandmother. Music was always a big part of his life. At age 6, he was known as the Whistler, because he would walk up and down the street whistling. At South Park High School, he took part in school plays and musicals. His musical beginnings also included singing on street corners and under bridges for the echo effect. George Hound Dog Lorenz was an early influence. Bobby recorded his first record, Charlie Lou, as a sophomore in high school. At 16, he went to New York City, hoping to talk to record companies. He visited label after label in the Brill Building, using the opening line, "Harry Altman sent me." He did not know Harry, but thought because he was the owner of the town casino, it would give him the opening he needed. Unsuccessful, he returned to Buffalo. His first band was the Rockets. They played in clubs all over Western New York. It was during this time that Bobby met and was helped by WBNY DJ Lucky Pierre. Pierre helped him record a demo with the Rockets at Howell Recording Studios. Bobby returned to New York City with his demo. He met and worked with Joe Renee of Clara Records. There he recorded The Cheater and Don't Talk, Just Kiss. He was amazed at the professionalism of the musicians and the recording at Bell Sound Studios. He returned to Buffalo with his record and, with the help of Lucky Pierre, distributed it to radio stations. At WKBW, Dan Neverth and Tom Shannon gave it considerable airtime. That hit drew attention from radio stations down the East Coast, Toronto and Eastern Canada. It was as high as #1 on the hit record lists. Bobby played live and TV dance shows along the East Coast. Armando Gaya, Buffalo Music Hall of Fame 2001, recalls playing shows at the Delwood Ballroom with Bobby DeSoto. They sang with the Jerry Lee Band on Saturday nights. Bob Wells did his High Teen show from the Delwood, having it broadcast on the radio. Mondo said Bobby had dance moves that matched those of Elvis Presley. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, Bobby continued to perform in clubs throughout Western New York. He was always proud to be called Buffalo's own Bobby DeSoto, and considered himself a pioneer in rock and roll music in Buffalo.
Now we would like to honor those Buffalo Music Hall of Fame inductees who are no longer with us.
Bobby from Goo Goo Dolls here. How y'all doing? Bruce Mosher, my God, he was kind enough to let us rehearse in the back of Could Be Wild in a warehouse that they had set up back there. Every once in a while we'd come through the office and over this huge stack of records and magazines, you know, Bruce's head would pop up over and go, hey, it could be. And we'd be like, hey, dude, what's up? Bruce, rock on, brother. And, you know, could be forever, all right? See y'all soon. Peace.
Hey everybody, this is John from Goo Goo Dolls. I don't think that we would have had much more of a career if he hadn't been involved with it. First in the survival of this band, and then in helping us achieve success with the band because of all of his work. For that, I will always be grateful to him. He was truly, truly a good man. He will be missed, and they don't make him like that anymore.
Hello everybody, it's Willie Nile here. And I just want to say a couple of words about my dear friend Bruce Mosher. Bruce Mosher was one of the most original, authentic, genuine, honest, straightforward people you're ever going to meet, with a heart the size of Texas.
The most amazing thing to me was how respected and loved he was by the heaviest of heavies in this industry. He had a heart for people, a love for music, and a passion. And he's greatly missed by me, as well as many, many of you.
Could be. Could be. Could be. Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be. Could be.
Could be.
There could never be another Bruce Mosher. Bruce, we love you. We miss you.
Thank you for helping us celebrate the class of 2020.
And a very special thank you to our co-hosts, Joanne Falletta and Sean McQuiller. We are very excited about the future of our Hall of Fame.
If you would like to learn more about the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame, or to make a donation to help us continue our mission, please visit our website, buffalomusichall-of-fame.org, or scan the QR code at the bottom of our screen. And again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Anthony.